obviously then we moved on to Euro Disco, which is one of my favourite Alan's as well. So we've got quite a lot of frivolity on there, you know, but also some very serious disco records. Boris Midney's on there, Giorgio Moroder, you know, some Easy Going, great track, Fear. You know, people often kind of badmouth Euro Disco because of its because it's frivolous and it's not so serious.
People think it's superficial, but it actually is our own brand. I mean, you know, the Americans can lay claim to it to a certain degree, but Euro Disco is what we, you know.
I actually thought a lot of the, especially the French Euro Disco, is far more melodic and better arranged in a lot of cases than the American stuff.
You know, I was thinking this morning. It's almost all the great composers are European. It's like they have like a history of kind of melody and that kind of and glamour and all that kind of, and that's what Eurodisco is, isn't it? Eurodisco is the ultimate, to me, is kind of, if you're out in a club or something having a good time, you know, that's the one that really gets you off. No, that's what it is. And then the fourth one in the series, the subtly covered gay disco and high energy. I love that picture. Absolutely,
it's fantastic. For the benefit of anybody watching, you know, it's another integral part of the series. Really, is the artwork, which we'll come on to. Okay, but I know a lot of care and attention went into selecting the photos for these. So you got these first 4 albums together. Were there any significant licensing problems? Any major headaches there? Did it take a long time to?
Excuse me. It took ages because I mean, when I started, I knew I wasn't going to be putting Gloria Gaynor on there, Amy Stewart, those kind of things. All great records, but I wasn't going to use them because they'd been used before. So my final track listings were never going to be easy to license. There were certain ones that we thought, you know, that Sony and Warner's were very good. You know, their stuff came through very easily. We had some stuff off Unidisc, the big Canadian label. The things that I didn't get for the first series, I was lucky enough to get for the second series, so we'll talk about those later. But there was a lot of headaches. I'm just very grateful that our licensing manager, Matthew Jones, is so good at what he does. And goes further than he needs to.
He burns the midnight oil.
He does, definitely.
On occasion.
So can I just chime in? Because a lot of the problem with all this stuff is that people don't know who owns things. That's the trouble, isn't it? You'd think it was that easy, but it's not. Because so many people lay claim to this stuff, which is why a lot of the stuff that we all still want, the Holy Grail, are like in such this like rights minefield.
Absolutely. It's a nightmare. There's a couple of tracks. I mean, there's probably 20 tracks over all 8 albums, which to me I still want to use, but we've yet to find the correct licensor.
And it's funny, they're probably in relative obscurity somewhere. You know, thinking if only that record had worked. Not knowing that we're all going crazy trying to license it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a good example of that was the 2 Sylvia Love tracks on the first 4 albums. They came out on BMG, they were UK produced. I didn't think there was a hope in hell of finding those. They were the first 2 to be approved by Sony, and they sent us the original 1/4-inch tapes. So, you know, some people do look after their catalogues.
That was lucky.
It was.
Okay.
They did both have to be baked though. Because they were on that certain brand of tape that produced in the late 70s, where all the moisture has been kind of...
And then the oxide starts peeling off. And,
exactly.
So, for the benefit of the viewers, this is one of the key problems with the whole, I guess, putting CDs out and so on, because a lot of the stuff that we're going for hasn't been commercially exploited before. You're relying on, in some cases, masters that are almost 40 years old, and the masters in the 70s apparently are of worse quality than the masters in the 60s. So,
that's right.
Really, I think you're doing a great service here, making this stuff available.
I hope so. It makes me happy as well, which is, you know, because as well, you've got, you know, there are tracks on here that I've been wanting on CD for years. I didn't put them on there because only I like that. I'm going to put it on there, but I thought other people would like them as well. So
I can just picture the 3 of us. We've all got rooms full of vinyl, and we now also have rooms full of CDs.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
You know, such is the curse of the collector. Okay, well, probably one of the most obvious things about the series is the distinctive packaging, right? Which I've got to tell you, I joined the company in September just as these were coming out, so these very much fell into my lap, and my initial thing was shock at the title. You know, made me think of the early 70s, visits to various hospitals. But the one thing that really stood out really was the design, and it's so totally unique that I think within 6 months the series has already embedded itself, within people's brains. I just wondered what was the inspiration for this? I mean, how did this whole black and white imagery thing come about?
Well, a little bit like the track listings, where I didn't want to use the same old things. I didn't want to go down the mirror ball, stiletto, afro wig cover, kind of graphic kind of cover.
Yeah.
So the black and white picture was something I wanted straight from the start. So what I basically did was I kind of like went on the net and just brought loads of pictures in. None of the ones we actually used, but that kind of old black and white 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s even images. And basically the brief was that they had to be glamorous, all kind of tongue-in-cheek, but beautiful in a way, and something eye-catching on all of them.
Yeah.
So I brought those in, I gave them to the label manager, Gavin, at the time, and the designer, Paul Agar, has done other work for Demon, and we were really lucky because he just got it straight away, and I'm not joking, within 48 hours we had like about 150 images sent to us, and that's too many really, but because you've got to start trawling through them. But that's basically how it came about. But I definitely didn't want to go down that kind of.
Well, it gives it a touch of class, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think it's really great. I love the way the design carries through. I mean, the fact that you've got the CDs, white and with the colour around, and then the pink and then the white. I think it really is lovely. I mean, I think that's what, again, it's appealing to our collector mentality.
Of course,
and they look great on the shelf. That's what I think is so fantastic about them. No, I just really think they're a quality item. They look classy, and it's not like and you're not embarrassed to buy it. Creeping over like the best disco in town, volume 20.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what I like about them myself.
Might cause a few problems for me if I wandered around with that.
Not for us.
No. God, I used to look like that. Well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, third on the left. Fantastic.
So it was you.
Don't tell anyone.